In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm using Bitcoin to write covered calls, sell cash secure puts, and then buy dividend paying stocks. Stick around. I know you're going to like this one. Hey, welcome back everyone. It is time for another red hot cover call video. Well, hey, look, today we're going to talk about Bitcoin. How I use Bitcoin to write covered calls, sell cash secure puts, and then take that money and buy a Bitcoin related ETF that pays us a passive monthly dividend. That's right. This is all about Bitcoin and how us selling premium players can benefit from both writing covered calls or selling cash secured puts and then using that premium profit to buy a Bitcoin related ETF for that monthly dividend. So let's go ahead and get to this. If you like anything you hear today, I want you to subscribe to the channel. It's right there. It's free. And hey, look, if you like this video today, bang that like button. It lets me know you like what I'm doing. Now, what we're doing is this. We're highlighting two ETFs that I use, and we're going to then highlight an ETF monthly dividend paying stock at the end of the video. So I'll try to get to this quick. This is easy to get long-winded. What we're doing is this. We're using a Bitcoin ETF, one that mimics the price of Bitcoin. And in this case, we're actually going to use BITU. Now, let's get this out of the way real quick for all those keyboard warriors that say, oh, he's 3 minutes in and he mentions his membership. Yeah, that's right. I have a membership and I give most of that money to charity. So what are you doing out there? If you want to take a peek over a successful, active trader's shoulder, you got to put skin in the game. And my members get all these videos you don't see on YouTube. And in fact, you can see right here, we did a video on Bitcoin. And we're doing more of them because here's the deal. We can make tremendous covered call premiums, cash secure put premiums using Bitcoin. And I'll tell you what, in that video I sent to the members, I made an awesome case that right now is the time to get involved with Bitcoin, and I laid it out. I don't just talk a good game. My members know I put real skin in the game, and we have some 4 trades going on these Bitcoin ETFs. And real quick, before we get going, you could see I do videos on the poor man's covered call, standard covered call, dividend tree. We got all kind of Yield Max ETF talk, and we talk about everything about selling premium. So if you want to be a part of the membership, it is at my website, cptdashboard.com. Click Upgraded Dashboard, get your 1 free month. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So BitU is a ProShares Ultra ETF for Bitcoin. So as Bitcoin trades, this one will move about 2x. And that's what I love, because if you've been watching my channel, you know I love using the 3x leveraged ETFs to the indexes. We don't look for speculative plays. What we look for are 3x leveraged ETFs to indexes, because when indexes sell off, and we know they're going to move higher. I mean, if you don't believe the indexes are going to move higher, then why are you even in this game? So let's use a little juice. And when we use that juice, we could actually sell premium against the indexes, make more money than the typical selling premium trader. I'll give an example. You hear a lot of people trading SPY, and they will make a living off of SPY. Well, I'll tell you this, man. I use UPRO, which is the 3x leveraged ETF, to the SPY. So if you're interested in using volatility, I get this all the time too, man. They're like, oh, those are risky stocks. Well, do you think the S&P 500 is risky? Because if you think it's risky, then yeah, you should not be investing in the SPY or UPRO. But if you like volatility and you like the SPY, then you should be investing or trading in UPRO, because you get 3x the premiums. Well, if you ever wanted to invest in Bitcoin and sell premium against it, we're going to have to use ETFs very similar to BitU. Now, this is not a recommendation because this thing moves in violent moves. You can see right now it was up $1 today, or 4.6%, and Bitcoin itself was not up 4.6%. Bitcoin was up 2.3%. So this is a 2x levered ETF to Bitcoin. Now, what I want to show you is this. This is BitU, the 2x leverage ETF to Bitcoin. And then we look at Bitcoin. Do they look similar? I think they do. That's what I like about this. When we use 3x leveraged ETFs, we are actually just getting the volatility. The volatility is what pays us big premiums. So I'm going to trade Bitcoin using ETFs like BitU. That's where we can get very large premium plays. So for example, I want to highlight a trade right here. You see BitU right there. So when BitU was trading at 23.14, I went ahead and sold the 22 cash secure put. I got paid $1.25. This expires July 19th. Look at the date for which I did this trade. This is literally a 10-day trade, and we're making $1.25 on $22 invested. And when we run the numbers on that, again, this is a 10-day trade, we're going to make 5.6%. And as you can see, I went ahead and did 10 contracts, and we're knocking down $1,250. What I'm going to tell you is this. This is Bitcoin. It is 2x leveraged, but if you believe, like I do, that we're using the indexes or we're using Bitcoin when we use the leveraged ETFs, then all of the worry goes away. See, I started trading 3x leveraged ETFs some 4 and 5 years ago. And once I realized that all we're doing is playing an index, then for me, all of that fear and uncertainty went away. I am trading the NASDAQ when I use TQQQ. Where others will use QQQ, I'm using the TQs, and I'm making 3x the premium profits. So that's how I want you to look at this. You know, a lot of people in the comments below are going to say, oh, he's using these scary 3x leveraged ETFs, these leveraged ETFs that inherently lose money, and where everybody on YouTube says never invest in 3x leveraged ETFs. Well, what they don't tell you is they're not selling premium against them. See, when we sell premium against 3x leveraged ETFs, we're collecting our money. See, what they're going to tell you is that a 3x leveraged ETF to anything is a depreciating asset. And what that means is, if nothing were to happen while I own this 3x leveraged ETF, every single day it would tick lower because they take a daily tiny fee. And that's why it's a depreciating asset. But let's be real here. No 3x leveraged ETF to any index is going to trade dead flatline. Okay? And on top of that, we're selling premium, so we're collecting a flat rate premium up front. I want you to change your mindset when it comes to leveraged ETFs. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and just mortgage the house. You have to be smart, okay? What I want you to do is learn about them and just add them to your selling premium portfolio if you feel comfortable with them. These things will move wildly, and if you're not prepared for that, you need to sit on the bench. I'll never forget, man, when Apple was trading at like $700 before it split, somebody bought it and it fell 3 points. And dude was emailing me saying, oh my goodness, the sky is falling, Apple's falling. And that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? 3x leveraged ETFs are going to move in these big ranges. TNA, one that I always use. Right now, its range is anywhere from 40x to 34. And right now, it's trading in that middle range between 35 and 36. So what do? We just trade it. If you want a little downside protection, you can do a cash secure put, or you can do a in-the-money covered call. We use this as a tool in our toolkit to generate income. Let's go ahead and step back to Bitcoin for a moment. I know you're going to go out there and Google 3x leveraged ETFs, 2x leveraged ETFs to Bitcoin. Let's just talk about Bitcoin real quick. Notice this, and this is what I mentioned to the members in that video. Bitcoin trades in these incredible momentum swings. And right here, we're talking 70,000. Then, when the momentum ceases and goes away for a moment, it seems to come back right around that 60,000 mark. Now, it has recently fallen off a little bit more, but it's in and around that number. And if you want to draw a line, you can clearly draw a line that that's where its support is. But we're not going to get that detailed. I believe around 60,000 is where you want to be involved with Bitcoin. Now, I'm talking about Bitcoin in the sense that I'm not going to buy Bitcoin. I'm not going to spend 60 grand for a coin. I'm going to buy a Bitcoin ETF Okay? Looking at Bitcoin, we get the buying, right? We get the buying. The ETFs have to load up on this Bitcoin. We get all that buying. Then as the month progresses, and you can see these are in monthly clips, it's pushing Bitcoin higher. Well, then we don't get any more buying. And when we don't get any more buying, it falls back. Simple supply and demand. Bitcoin is nothing more than a momentum play. And then when the new month starts, look what happens. It rallies and we get back near the top of its range. And guess what has happened? In that month, it has peeled off. And now, if you're asking me, this is where we want to get involved with Bitcoin. So how am I going to do that if that's what I want to do? Well, I can't buy Bitcoin because I'm not going to pay $57,000 a coin. And if you did buy Bitcoin, you're going to go to Coinbase and pay all that money just to have an account and this, that, and the other. I am going to use something like BitU. Now, there's a lot of Bitcoin ETFs for which you cannot sell premium against. And I even have one of those. It's called IBIT. Now, I'm using IBIT as a buy and hold play. This is a 100% directional play on Bitcoin. I bought 500 shares. I'll let the members know. I wish I hadn't bought it now because I'd have bought BitU. I want to sell premium against these shares, and I'm doing that with BitU. IBIT is a nice directional play. So if you are interested in a directional play on Bitcoin, maybe you want to sock a little bit away. Maybe you truly don't believe Bitcoin will go higher, but you don't know. Everybody's saying it's going to 100,000 a coin, 1 million a coin, and you don't want to believe them. Just like me, I don't believe it, but you want to be a part of it. Well, if you use something like IBIT, IBIT allows you to get in much cheaper. Now, this is not an ad for IBIT. This is just what I'm doing. Now, let's focus on the cash secure puts that I did on BitU. Okay, I haven't done any covered calls yet because I have not owned the shares. I've decided to go with the cash secure put. And you can see I have two trades here. I have one at the 23 strike, and I have one at the 22 strike. So right now I have two cash secure put on BitU. One of them is going to pay $1,700, and the other is going to pay $1,250, and these expire July 19th. See, BitU turns out to be a monthly trade. You can't do weekly trades on this, but I'm okay with that. Because again, it's a directional play on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I believe, is at the low, and I believe it's going to move higher. So I do the cash secure put. I do not believe I'm going to be assigned the shares. But if I am assigned the shares in BitU, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and write a covered call. I believe we're at the bottom of its range. And every time we're at the bottom of the range, we get a little momentum move. Now, do I know if it's going to go higher or not? No, nobody has a crystal ball. But what I'm going to do is this. Every time it gets to the bottom of its range, I'm going to go ahead and get involved. And I'm going to use a cash secure put. And I went ahead and picked the strike about $1 out of the money. That gives me a nice little bit of downside protection. May not get assigned the shares, but if I am, we're $1 lower than where it's trading when I started. So then if I'm assigned the shares down here at 22 and we're already at the bottom, we could easily then write a covered call and hope our shares are taken away at 22. And because these are leveraged ETFs to Bitcoin, we're making 2x the premiums. Now, real quick, I want to show you Coinbase. Now, I have a poor man's covered call on Coinbase, and today I took on a 2x leveraged ETF that mimics Coinbase stock. We're going to talk about that here in the future, so that's why I want you to subscribe to the channel, because you may or may not like these ETF plays that I do, but at least I bring new and exciting ideas. And hey, if you don't like them, you might want to just stick around and see if I crash and burn into the wall. Because I don't take on little positions. I don't know if you noticed, but I took on a position in that 2x leveraged ETF to Coinbase. Hey, this is how I operate, man. If I'm going to trade Coinbase, why not get a little 2x leverage? See, I think Coinbase is trading near its bottom. That's why I did the poor man's covered call on it, for which if you were a member, you would have gotten all that information and you'd be in the trade, knocking it down. Right now, that Coinbase poor man's covered call trade, I could sell out of it today and make $1,500. Love selling premium. Now, although Coinbase is not strictly Bitcoin, it truly does move with Bitcoin. I want you to notice something with Coinbase right now. This is an interesting trade because I like it. This is why I got involved with that 2x leveraged ETF to Coinbase. Because notice how it is absolutely using that 50-day moving average as resistance. And here's the deal. If it's able to pop above that resistance, I'm telling you what, it's going to go two places. And if Bitcoin can slowly make a recovery, here's where I think it's going to go. If you see this line right here, that's the 50-day moving average. There's one right above it. That is the 20-day moving average. And above that is true resistance. This is what I love about this trade, because Coinbase right now is trading right here. And that right here is about 210. So I'm thinking there is your support. And that's where I got involved with the poor man's covered call using Coinbase. I believe if Coinbase breaks through the 50-day moving average, I believe it's going to go to 230. And if it breaks that line of resistance, it could easily go to 245. And all I'm hoping for is that it goes higher. Because at the end of the day, I have both the poor man's covered call and a 230 strike covered call, and I have that CONL trade. That was a cash secure put. It's trading in and around 495. I went ahead with the 44 strike. So I would love to see the stock slowly move higher, and I'm able to buy back this fat $3 premium for which I got paid $900 for that. This also expires July 19th. So we have about 7 days to work these trades. And then, of course, we'll sit back and take a look next month and see what we want to do, because they are monthlies, not weeklies. Now, let's finish this video up. This is a fat disclaimer. I don't own either one of these stocks, but I do own Coney. Coney is a YieldMax ETF that uses Coinbase to write weekly covered calls to generate very large monthly dividends. In fact, you can see it here in their release. Coney is bringing 90%, an annual yield of 90%. It's ridiculous. Also notice YBIT. YBIT is bringing an 83% dividend yield. It's ridiculous. But good old Misty is the one that everybody loves on the YieldMax feed. They absolutely love Misty because it uses MicroStrategy stock to write near-term covered calls. And MicroStrategy stock generates huge dividend. If you wanted to play Bitcoin to generate a monthly dividend passively, you could use a YieldMax ETF. You could use YBIT, Coney, or Misty. I want you to do your due diligence, because these things are not for the faint of heart. Look at how this thing has been trading. But they pay fat cash dividends, and a lot of people like them. I do too. But what we're talking about here is Bitcoin. How can we sell premium against Bitcoin? We use BitU. Then we collect those fat premiums and we buy a Bitcoin-related ETF. It could be one of many. Maybe the YMAX Misty, the YMAX Coney, or the YMAX YBIT. And if you really wanted to get involved with an individual stock, you could use Coinbase or any of the miners, such as Mara or Riot. Now, with that said, right now, when it comes to Bitcoin, I am using BitU for cash secure puts. And what we're going to do is turn that around and write covered calls if we're assigned the shares. Once we're assigned the shares, that is going to generate cash flow. That cash flow then gets put into a dividend tree. And if you want a dividend tree that uses Bitcoin, then consider what I've mentioned below. But look, at the end of the day, man, you got to do your own due diligence, because Bitcoin could wreck you emotionally if you're not prepared for the big swings. But what I want you to take away from this video is this. When we use 3x leveraged ETFs that are geared to indexes, they're not scary. We're using indexes. And that's what I do. Well, in the case of Bitcoin, I'm not going to use Bitcoin at 60,000 a coin. Let's use some ETFs that mirror the Bitcoin movement. And when Bitcoin's trading at the bottom of its range, that's when we want to get involved. All those people that got involved at 70, come on, you had to see that coming. Let's have a more favorable trade where we get involved when it's trading at 56, so it could possibly move higher with the momentum move that Bitcoin is. My members get all this, and we're going to be talking more, because I love how we're using Bitcoin for selling premium. And if you want to be a part of that game, then you need to become a member. And oh, by the way, did you see all these other trades we're doing? I got trades everywhere. AMD, CleanSpark, PayPal, Alibaba, UPS, TNA, Gilead. Look, members get a chance to see how a professional stock trader does it. And if you go to my website, cptdashboard.com, click Upgraded Dashboard and get your 1 free month offer. Hey, look, I'm going to leave it there. Be safe, be healthy, most important, be lucky. Until next time, may all your covered calls be profitable.